Let's talk about something we're often taught not to discuss, especially as we get older. Sex, and let's be very direct. What if I told you that for those of us over 70, the absence of intimacy can be as impactful on our overall health as quitting a daily walk or dramatically changing our diet? It sounds like an overstatement, but the science is becoming increasingly clear. Our bodies are magnificent feedback systems. Regular intimacy, and that can mean many things. Not just intercourse sends a powerful, consistent signal to our brains and our glands. It's a signal of vitality, of connection, and of purpose. When that signal begins to fade or stops altogether, the body doesn't just stay the same. It begins a series of quiet, cascading changes that go far beyond the bedroom, rippling through our physical and emotional well-being in ways most of us never expect. This isn't a conversation about pressure or performance. It is a conversation about understanding. It's about pulling back the curtain on a topic shrouded in silence and replacing misunderstanding with empowering knowledge. Welcome to Senior Health and Life. In today's vital episode, we are going to explore 5 of these profound changes, what really happens to your hormones, your heart, your immune system, and your mind when sexual activity slows or stops after 70. Our promise to you is that by the end of this video, you will see this aspect of your life not as a source of anxiety, but as another powerful tool for living a long, healthy, and joyful life. Before we dive in, we'd love to create a safe space for this conversation. Without sharing any details you're uncomfortable with, have you found that this is a difficult topic to discuss with doctors or even with friends? We'd be honored if you shared your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice helps break the silence for everyone. Now, let's begin. The first change is perhaps the most fundamental. It happens deep within our internal chemistry, affecting our energy, our mood, and our very sense of vitality from the inside out. Number 1, your body's vitality signals. Fade hormone. Decline hormones are the chemical messengers that run our bodies. Think of them as the volume knob for everything from your energy level to your mood. For both men and women, regular sexual activity acts as a natural stimulant, encouraging the body to maintain a healthy production of key hormones like testosterone and estrogen. When that stimulation ceases, the volume can get turned down much faster than it otherwise would. Let's be clear, hormone levels naturally decline with age. That is a normal process. But a sudden stop in sexual activity can cause that gradual slope to become a much steeper drop. For men, testosterone is crucial not just for libido, but for maintaining muscle mass, bone density, and mental sharpness. For women, estrogen plays a key role in skin elasticity, bone health, and cardiovascular function. When these hormones plummet, we feel it. It can manifest as persistent fatigue, a foggy mind, increased irritability, and a general loss of zest for life. For a person over 70, this can easily be mistaken for just getting old, when in fact, it's a specific hormonal shift that can be addressed. Let me tell you a story about Frank. Frank, a 73-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan, was a widower of 2 years. He had always been a man who tinkered in his garage, in his garden, but recently he felt like he was fading. The afternoons were lost to long, unrefreshing naps. His beloved workshop sat silent, gathering dust. He told his son, "It's like the color has drained out of my life." He felt tired, listless, and mentally adrift. During a checkup, his doctor, rather than just brushing it off as old age, decided to check his hormone levels. His testosterone was found to be significantly lower than expected, Even for his age, his doctor explained the link between the cessation of intimacy and this accelerated hormonal decline. It wasn't about pressure, it was about biology. Frank began a very low-dose hormone therapy and, just as importantly, made a conscious effort to re-engage with life. He joined a local walking group and started volunteering at a historical society, working on old engines. Over several months, the fog began to lift. The energy returned. He wasn't just fixing old machines. He was reconnecting with his own engine of vitality. He understood that intimacy had been a signal to his body to stay vibrant. And when that signal stopped, he needed to find new ways to send it. But it's not just the invisible world of hormones. The absence of intimacy has a direct, physical impact on our most important muscle, an impact that can be measured and felt with every beat. Number 2, the heart's forgotten workout, cardiovascular decline. We all know that exercise is good for the heart. We walk, we swim, we garden, but we often forget that sexual activity is also a form of physical exercise, and a unique one at that. It provides a cardiovascular workout that is hard to replicate in other ways. For anyone over 70, maintaining heart health is paramount, and losing this natural boost can have subtle but significant consequences. Here's what happens during intimacy. Your heart rate increases in a way similar to a brisk walk or light aerobics. Your blood vessels dilate, which improves circulation and can help lower blood pressure. Your body releases a cascade of beneficial chemicals, including nitric oxide, which helps keep your arteries flexible and healthy. At the same time, it lowers levels of stress hormones like cortisol, which are known to be damaging to the cardiovascular system over time. It's a perfect combination of a physical workout and a deep stress reliever. When this regular workout is removed from your routine, the effects can slowly build up. Poorer circulation can lead to that feeling of always having cold hands and feet, slower healing of cuts and bruises, and can make managing blood pressure more difficult. For men, reduced blood flow is a primary driver of erectile difficulties. For women, it can lead to vaginal dryness and discomfort. It can become a self-perpetuating cycle. Poor circulation impacts intimacy, and a lack of intimacy further impacts circulation. Let's think about Brenda, a 76-year-old from Florida. She and her husband, Bill, had always been active. But after Bill's knee surgery, their physical intimacy had all but stopped. Brenda continued her daily walks, but she was confused when her doctor noted her blood pressure was creeping up. She felt more tired than usual. Her doctor explained that while walking is fantastic, she had lost the unique cardiovascular and stress-reducing benefits that regular intimacy had provided for decades. This was a revelation for them. It wasn't about pressure to return to their old ways. It was about understanding what was lost. They started exploring new forms of connection. They took up ballroom dancing, which provided a new, joyful way to raise their heart rates together. They focused on other forms of physical affection. Brenda's blood pressure stabilized, and more importantly, they felt a renewed sense of shared vitality. They found a new way to keep their hearts, both literally and figuratively, engaged. We've talked about our internal chemistry and our most vital muscle. Now, let's explore a connection that will surprise almost everyone. How can an act of intimacy possibly affect how often you catch the common cold? The answer is fascinating and reveals just how interconnected our bodies truly are. Before we move on to our third point, I just want to check in with you. If anything we've shared so far has given you a new perspective or a light bulb moment, let us know by simply commenting the word insight below. It means the world to us to know we're connecting with you. Thank you for that. Now, let's talk about your immune system. Number 3, the immune system's defense falters. Your immune system is your body's vigilant army, constantly on patrol for invading bacteria and viruses. After 70, this army naturally becomes a little slower and less powerful. That's why it's so important to do everything we can to support it. And surprisingly, regular intimacy is a powerful ally in this fight. Here's the science made simple. Studies, including notable research from Wilkes University in Pennsylvania, have shown that people who engage in regular sexual activity once or twice a week have significantly higher levels of a crucial antibody called immunoglobulin A, or IgA. Think of IgA as your body's first line of defense. It's found in your saliva and the mucous linings of your nose and lungs, where it neutralizes germs before they can even take hold. More IgA means you're better equipped to fend off respiratory infections like colds and the flu. Furthermore, intimacy is one of nature's most effective stress reducers. It lowers levels of the stress hormone cortisol. High cortisol levels are known to suppress the immune system, leaving you vulnerable. So, when sexual activity stops, you lose two key benefits: the direct boost to your antibodies and the protective, stress-reducing effect. For a senior whose immune system is already more compromised, this can be a significant loss. Consider Walter, a 79-year-old retired accountant from Oregon. He and his wife had a loving but mostly platonic relationship for the past few years. Walter found himself catching every single bug his young grandchildren brought into the house. He'd get a cold that would linger for weeks and often turn into a nasty cough. He felt perpetually run down, especially during the winter. He mentioned this pattern to his doctor, who, after reviewing his overall health, brought up the surprising link between intimacy, stress, and immunity. Walter learned that the absence of regular physical connection and its associated hormonal benefits could be a contributing factor. This wasn't about blame, it was about biology. He and his wife began to consciously incorporate more physical affection into their lives, more hugs, more cuddling while watching TV. Walter also focused on other immune supporters, like better sleep and a vitamin C supplement. The following winter, he still caught one cold from his grandkids, but instead of lingering for a month, it was gone in a week. He felt more resilient. He felt his body's army was finally getting the support it needed. Number 4, the mind and mood connection worsens. So far, we've focused on the physical body, but the changes that occur are not just from the neck down. What happens or doesn't happen in the bedroom has a direct, powerful line to the most complex organ in our body, the brain. For a person over 70, maintaining cognitive function and emotional balance is central to quality of life, and the absence of intimacy can unfortunately weaken both. During sex and other forms of close physical affection, our brain is flooded with a remarkable cocktail of feel-good neurochemicals. This includes dopamine, the pleasure and motivation molecule, serotonin, which regulates mood, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone that fosters feelings of trust and connection. Think of this combination as a natural antidepressant and brain fertilizer. It reduces stress, elevates mood, and promotes a sense of well-being. When this regular neurochemical bath stops, some seniors may find themselves more vulnerable to mood swings, feelings of flatness, and even clinical depression. But the connection goes even deeper, into the realm of cognition. Engaging in intimacy is a complex activity that stimulates brain regions responsible for memory, attention, and problem solving. It supports neuroplasticity, the brain's incredible ability to form new connections and adapt. This is crucial for keeping our minds sharp as we age. Without this regular, unique form of stimulation, the risk of memory lapses and that frustrating cognitive fog can increase. This is often compounded by the social isolation that can accompany a loss of intimacy. And isolation is one of the biggest known risk factors for dementia. Let's think about Susan, a 75-year-old retired nurse from Texas. After a hip surgery, intimacy with her husband became difficult, and eventually it faded away. In the months that followed, Susan began to feel flat. She, who had always been sharp and organized, started misplacing her keys more often and struggling to recall names. Social activities she once loved felt like a chore. She felt a fog descending over her, which frightened her. She finally opened up to a support group for seniors at her local community center. As she listened to others, she realized she wasn't alone. She learned that the loss of physical connection was tied to her feelings of isolation and mental fuzziness. Empowered by this knowledge, she took action. She joined a book club to challenge her mind and a gentle water aerobics class to move her body. She and her husband started a new nightly ritual of reading aloud to each other. These new forms of stimulation and connection began to lift the fog. Her mood brightened, and her mind felt sharper. She learned that a healthy brain after 70 needs a rich diet of social, mental, and emotional engagement. We've explored how a lack of intimacy can impact our hormones, our heart, our immune system, and our mind. This final point may be the most important of all because it sits at the very heart of our human experience and can affect us every single day, especially if we are in a long-term partnership. Number 5, the unspoken distance in a partnership fades. In sexual activity after 70 plays a crucial, often underestimated role in maintaining the deep emotional bonds that sustain a relationship. When physical intimacy decreases or disappears, many couples experience a slow, subtle weakening of their emotional connection, which can lead to feelings of loneliness, misunderstanding, and even resentment. This loss of intimacy goes far beyond the bedroom. It can create an invisible wall between two people who love each other, touching the very heart of their happiness. The science behind this is beautiful and simple. It centers on a hormone called oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is released in the brain during positive physical touch, from holding hands and long hugs to sexual intimacy. It is the neurochemical glue that fosters trust, empathy, security, and a deep sense of attachment. It's what makes you feel safe and at home with your partner. When these moments of physical connection become rare, the regular flow of oxytocin diminishes. Without this bonding agent, couples can find themselves drifting apart. The easy laughter becomes less frequent. They might stop sharing small, everyday moments. Misunderstandings can grow because the baseline of trust and empathy has been lowered. They can start to feel more like respectful roommates than intimate soulmates, even while living under the same roof. For many seniors, this is a silent, painful grief that they don't know how to talk about. Let's think about Evelyn and Bill, both in their late 70s and living in Arizona. After Bill's heart surgery, they were both fearful, and their once rich sexual life came to a halt. In the year that followed, Evelyn felt a growing loneliness. Bill seemed more distant, often retreating to his workshop. They began to bicker over small things. The warmth they had shared for 55 years felt like it was fading. Recognizing this painful distance, Evelyn courageously decided to seek counseling. Their therapist helped them understand that the loss of physical intimacy had starved their relationship of its daily dose of oxytocin. It wasn't about blame, it was about biology. They were tasked with finding new, non-sexual ways to be physically close. They started a new routine every morning. They would have their coffee on the patio and just hold hands for 10 minutes. In the evenings, they would give each other simple shoulder rubs while watching television. They began to hug more real, long hugs, slowly, miraculously. The ice began to thaw. The easy laughter returned. The bickering subsided. They were consciously rebuilding their oxytocin bond, proving that intimacy is flexible and that the heart's need for connection never retires. As we bring our conversation to a close, it's clear that the effects of sexual activity or its absence reach far beyond what many of us ever imagined. After 70, the choices we make about intimacy impact our hormones, our heart, our immune system, our mind, and our emotional bonds in profound ways. This knowledge doesn't exist to create pressure or a sense of obligation. It exists to empower us. It's about understanding and honoring a powerful, integral part of our total well-being. The true lesson today is not that everyone must be having sex. The lesson is that intimacy, in all its wonderful forms, is a vital pillar of holistic health, just as crucial as a healthy diet and regular exercise. The real tragedy is not the absence of sex, but the absence of connection, of gentle touch, of affection, and of the emotional security that comes from it. Aging doesn't close the book on intimacy. It simply asks us to write a new chapter. It may be a chapter that is less about youthful passion and more about profound connection. A chapter written with gentle touch, shared laughter, and the quiet, magnificent security of knowing you are truly seen, heard, and cherished. Thank you for joining us and trusting us with your time today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing one insight that stood out to you. Your voice matters, and reading your stories inspires us to continue creating thoughtful, empowering content. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone you love, and be sure to subscribe to our community of seniors committed to living well. Here's to embracing every chapter with strength, connection, and purpose. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.